One film that we at least hope was not horrible was Room, that we saw on Tuesday night. Joe, you didn't get a chance to see.
Didn't get a chance to see it.
Busy.
Too busy. I remember when you texted us 8:30, and I was like editing and just, do I get this done or do I go to Room? But I had to get it done.
You should have come to Room.
Should have, but I had to get
What
it
even
done.
is uni work, man? Just forget it.
You know, stuff that's kind of important.
It's
Exactly.
not-
Who would
it's not
want to miss
really,
the
is
Room?
it?
The Room.
The Room.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I actually I thought I'd like sort of search it up and see what people were thinking about Room, and I was like, oh, Tommy Wiseau was terrible in it. Yeah, it's not The Room. This is Brie Larson
I had Brie.
in Room.
Yeah, so Room, we were looking forward to this. Our secret screening of it was cancelled, sadly, because projection issues, so we were very disappointed on that day. However, we managed to see it again, finally, with a rearranged screening. We did miss the first few minutes.
For whatever reason, it started
For whatever
early,
reason.
which was
but-
annoying, but
yeah.
I don't think we missed too much.
No, we didn't miss too much. So basically, we have a young boy, and he's played by Jacob Tremblay, and basically,
7-year-old, it should be said as well.
isn't he 9?
At the time, he was 7.
At the time he was 7, yeah. So but he's playing a 5-year-old in the film. He's playing Jack, and his mother, played by Brie Larson, who was really, really an exceptionally talented actress. Now you watched Short Term 12
Last
just
night,
the other
yeah.
night, yeah.
I just thought it'd make an interesting companion piece. She's always interested me as an actress from Community. Scott Pilgrim. I did try and find the song to use today from Scott Pilgrim, but
All right.
can't find it anywhere. Yeah, she's a really, really interesting actress, and Short Term 12 is a really good sort of companion piece to this. It's a good double header. But anyway, yeah.
I will endeavour to watch that soon. So they are trapped in a shed, and they are kept captive by a man only known by Old Nick. He's a very scraggly, old-looking man, and Brie Larson's character was kidnapped 7 years ago by this man who was pretending to have a sick dog, and he brought her back to the shed and captured her, and that is where she obviously knocked her up. And well, now this is it's a dark story. It's a very, very dark story.
Quite.
But what this film does in an absolutely exceptional way is make incredibly dark material absolutely fantastically optimistic. And to be honest, I don't think I've seen a more optimistic film from something so like what could have been downright depressing and what could have been really sort of inflicted on itself to be sort of endure of the pain that a lot of the characters have gone through. And I mean, I don't know if the book is of the same sort of caliber of optimism.
Supposedly it's very, very faithful to the book.
Yeah,
because it's the same screenwriter.
yeah.
Emma Donoghue wrote the book. She's also wrote the film.
Because
so.
this film has a massive fairy tale like quality within it, thanks to director Lenny Abrahamson, who was just got an Oscar nomination.
Some would say it's a surprise, but I think based on the film itself, it's no surprise to
Absolutely no surprise at all. I mean, he did direct one of my absolute favourite movies of last year, Frank,
Me too.
which is absolutely terrific. And this time there is a massive fairy tale like quality to this film, and I do wonder if that was contained within the book as well. So I will have to definitely read that. But yeah, a lot of the visuals are very dreamlike, and there's a whole a brilliant aesthetic around that, involving sort of dreamlike worlds and the fairy tale sort of dreams that they want to get going. But Room it's just a fantastically optimistic story that is led by really, really astonishing performances. Really, I mean, Brie Larson's character, and she somehow manages to portray the pain, the loss, and the understanding of the situation that her character is going through. I mean, in the entirety, she's not in it a massive amount, because this story is very much Jack's story in essence, as long with being hers. But she is, when she's in it, she has these incredible moments of pure emotion and realistic acting that you really do get to feel, because this is, I mean, there's nothing more sort of emotionally devastating than what she seems to be going through at that moment, because you really do see it in her eyes and the way she brings it about within herself and the acting talent that she has. And I really do think she's going to be phenomenal in a few years. With a few more massive roles under her belt, she's going to have a massive future ahead of her.
I think she has to be a dark horse.
Yeah.
For best
But
actress.
just everything she does just wrings the emotion out of you in every sense of the word. And Jacob Tremblay, there isn't much that can be said. I mean, if he was 7-year-old when this was made, it's just absolutely fantastic, because
There's a very clear bond there, isn't there, between Larson and
because it's
Tremblay.
no spoiler to say that Jacob gets out of the room, and when the things he sees in the world with that dreamlike quality, the way it's filmed, and the way you see him sort of open his eyes to the world, because he is still a very impressionable young mind. He is only 5. He is plastic, as they say in the film, so he can be moulded. But the way that you see him develop in the way that he sees this world, the way that he understands the world, I mean, the dialogue within that pertains to the idea of his world expanding in such massive ways, and what he's been told is right, what is wrong, what doesn't exist, and what does exist. And you really get to see that adventure through the expressions that he does, and the actions, and in his sort of stance, and how he sort of expresses himself. And being a child, being 7-year-old, and being a 5-year-old in the film, it's just absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best child performance I've seen in a long time. I mean, Beast of No Nation had a terrific child actor last year, but I mean, this is just a whole new level of absolute fanaticism in terms of just general brilliance. But the script is just, it's on another level, I feel, because it's got fantastic dialogue from both characters and everyone who's involved. It's got a terrific, generally just fantastic, overwhelming spirit about it that really gets you to believe in the goodness and the kindness of the human soul, and the ability to see the world that we have on offer with us, because it is a massively gigantic and frightening and astonishing and horrifying world, and the script gets you to see that entire gravitas of the situation through the worldview of this woman who's been put in the most horrific imaginable situation, and this young kid who is still just seeing the world with his own eyes for the very first time. And it allows those two to evolve and adapt their senses and see the story through, with the amazing supporting cast involving people like William H. Macy, and just to see the story of, just when simplified down to it, a mother and son finding their way in the world, but within these horrific circumstances. And it's just it's an achievement. That's what it is. It's an absolute achievement of cinema. It's essential.
I felt very strongly about this, and I'm saying it now. It is my favourite film of the year so far. It's early, but it's up there. I mean, Frank was very, very solid at the top there as well. I think was it top? I think it was top, actually. Yeah. So strongly about that. I've actually made some notes for a change. Like, as soon as I came out, I actually made some notes. So this is what I kind of thought. It's a very complex film with a lot of really important themes, like very layered. Hello. Joe's back. Sorry, just to be clear, like, Joe left the room at some point during that.
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back. Parallels with Dogtooth. Now,
yeah.
It's a sort of the obscured perception of reality.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of sheltered the fact that, you know, he doesn't know what's beyond that wall, so it could literally be anything. And because he doesn't know what is outside there, he's very impressionable. So Joe,
it's the contrast of that childhood innocence
says,
with her jadedness. Yeah. You know,
obviously it's very claustrophobic, but it's even claustrophobic when you get out of room.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing as well, it's sort of everything's room, desk, pen, everything's like sort of characterized. So there's not just the two characters in the room. There's lots of little things, such as his impressionable little mind. Rehabilitation. This is a really important one. I think for Joy, or Ma, as she's calling the film, to rehabilitate, she kind of has to revert back to the adolescence she never had when it was taken from her. So when she gets out and into the real world again, she kind of becomes a 17-year-old where she sort of picks it where she left off, which I think is really interesting. She gets quite sort of sparky and quite like aggressive. And she kind of the sort of responsibility she should have doesn't really happen. Because she's a mother, but she's ultimately still a teenager because she's had that 7 years of her life. I think it's very tense as well, like a thriller.
Yeah.
Like it's really gripping. And I cried 3 times, like sort of proper like tears. I was just blown away by it. And we imagine what it must be like to see the world. We are put in Jack's shoes, which I think is just it's a achievement in itself to put us in a 5-year-old's mind and see the world with such wonder, which is really special.
I had so many chills all the way through this because some of the ways the lines are delivered and just the overall worldview of that script. It's something that you just never see anymore. It is genuinely essential that this film is seen by as many people as possible, because it's the triumph of the human spirit over the worst imaginable possible consequences and situations that you can be involved in. I mean, this is incredibly dark subject matter.
It's a tough watch.
It's really tough to watch, but it's carried by such incredible actors and such a really inventive and hopeful script that you just cannot be washed away with it completely. It's a real achievement. It is
wonderful.
I loved it.
I'm definitely going to go back and watch some more of Lenny Abrahamson's work. Certainly Adam and Paul, his first work, supposed to be good. What Richard did was on Film 4 last night.
I am doing another rewatch of Frank.
Is this Lenny
Abrahamson? Yeah, who did Frank.
Right.
So it's definitely